It was a mistake. Hey, John is up next. Hey, John, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Appreciate the call, Joe. Hey, John.
Paul, how are you doing today?
We're doing well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hey, I don't know if this might be a sleeper call for you. Mississippi State graduate engineer down here in Florida. Unfortunately, Mullins is down here in Florida. We lost him. But just as we recover, what do you think about Mike Leach? Is he going to be able to bring State back to that 10-4 record prominence that we're once enjoyed?
I think it's possible. I like what he's done, especially at his position, which is quarterback and on offense. Can he he's never been known as someone who pays much attention to defense, which you and I both know would be a serious mistake in the SEC not to pay attention to that.
Which Mr. Mullen had a great defense coordinator and that he took to Florida with him.
Exactly. And so that's my biggest concern. And, I think Mike Leach on a given Saturday is one of the better coaches around. I mean, he's innovative, he's smart, but, can he pay attention to the small details that you need to win in the SEC? I think there's a little bit of doubt. I don't know if some doubt's the right word, but I'm curious at whether that happens or not.
Yeah, I would just be happy if State could get back and win a bowl game. Because being a State fan for many, many, many years, I understand where we sit in the SEC West. And I don't know. I mean, I think Mullen was our best shot ever at maybe winning the West.
John, and I think even Mullen, as you know, he came so close.
Mullen did more with less than anybody.
Yeah, and
all the way back to Emory Billard and
exactly
and company.
Well, I mean, Jackie Sherrill had that program on fire for a couple of years.
Jackie did well.
But that's always been the problem, and State's a great place. It's the coaching tree there is pretty massive. But I think Leach was the best name you could find for that job. I think it's an improvement over Moorhead. Moorhead was a really good offensive.
I never liked the Moorhead hire.
Every time I was around him there, he just seemed like he wanted to be somewhere else.
Yeah. Plus, the whole way he handled the quarterback situation.
I mean, Mississippi State. I hate to run. We're up against a break, John, but Mississippi State's a state of mind. I mean, you have to really appreciate the greatness of that area. And Moorhead, I think, never quite did. Anyway, we're out of time. We're back for another hour. We hope you'll stick around.
Capital One checking and savings accounts have no fees or minimums, and a top-rated banking app that lets you manage your money anytime, anywhere, even from your favorite hiking trail. With Capital One's app, you can check your balance, deposit checks, pay bills, and transfer money from wherever you are, anytime you want, even when you're cooking dinner. Open a fee-free checking or savings account online in about 5 minutes. This is banking reimagined. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Consumer accounts only. Approval required. Terms apply. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We've got you. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got you covered. We're the only place you can find Duralast, the batteries more consumers choose. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination, where help is always in stock. Claims based on a proprietary consumer study and data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. Darius Franklin, the 6'1", 270-pound 2021 offensive lineman, has earned an invite to play in the Blue-Gray All-American Game, an event that will be played December 14th at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. Franklin was a key piece of the offensive line that paved the way for an average of 335 yards per game for the Washington Wildcats' turnaround season last year. But Franklin isn't just focused on playing D1 football. With a 3.5 GPA, he plans to study mechanical engineering in college. And while Franklin was able to participate in the Combine, Milton's Trevor Lunsford took a far different approach. Lunsford was unable to participate in football-related activities from January through May while he was recovering from his shoulder surgery. However, last week, Lunsford got quite the surprise. I came home and my mom told me I had something waiting for me on the counter, but it was a letter from Blue-Gray Football. Sure enough, it was an invite to the All-American game. He was the P&J All-Area Defensive Newcomer of the Year in 2018 and an All-Area pick in 2019. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Hi, this is Curtis Stone. Now, I've cooked a lot of food in my day. Steaks, salads, pasta, seafood, chicken, soup, sandwiches. I mean, you name it, and I've prepared it thousands of times. But even I can't cook enough to feed all of the 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger. That's 1 out of every 5 children. Now, luckily, there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food produced right here in America to feed every last one of those hungry kids. The only problem is getting it to them. That's where the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks comes in. They gather up surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families all across the country. We call them food angels, and you can be a food angel too. Come on, earn your wings by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
I think that you guys don't understand how hard the sculpted skill of making people laugh when they are expecting to laugh.
I don't think you realize the difficulty in delivering a take exactly the way people want it and expect it on a Monday after a big NFL college football weekend. You think Seinfeld could pull that one off, Dano?
I do, Stugazzo. I believe that Seinfeld could, yes, do what we do for a living better than us. Yes, I do believe that, because this isn't that actually hard. If you could do it, how hard?
Anyone could.
We just paid $100 for a guy outside to change your tire. If you could do it, this isn't that hard to do. Right. Stand-up comedy is a little more difficult than being Max Kellerman.
Catch the Dan Le Batard Show with Stu Gatz, 9 to 11, every weekday, right here on Pensacola's sports leader, ESPN Pensacola.
Ferocious flavor has landed at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's bold, it's different, it's refreshing, it's dragon fruit. We're using real dragon fruit to blend up our fearsomely flavorful new dragon fruit smoothie. Try one today, paired with a fan favorite Super Green Caesar chicken wrap or a Chipotle Chicken Club flatbread for a powerfully tasty combo. Slay your cravings at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eat better, feel better.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Well, we'll try to avoid Navy football talk today. Go Cougs, I guess. We'll get to more on the NBA. Game 3. The Lakers, Harden trying to get that first opportunity. But LeBron running out of time, and his hair might show it.
Emmitt Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin, 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket. time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmitt Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
Welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. Chad Brillante on the other side of the glass, JP. Glad I can hear you. It was like,
hey, how about it?
I feel like we were the guys today that over the last about 6 or 7 days, we haven't been able to hear. And when I say we, my headphones over here, which is probably a good thing. But I'm sitting here today and we're like, let me just try this. And I feel it's like the first person ever to drive a hybrid car. We had this, actually, when they went to a hybrid car in Maine. Don't judge, because it's in the Northeast. But we were up there in Maine, and the car that was the rental car right there at the Avis at the airport was a hybrid. So I'm trying to hit it I'm like, okay, this thing's not backing up. There's no noise. I mean, I've started this 4 times. And now the rental cars in the parking garage there, and it's snowing outside, the rental cars are about 30, 40 minutes away from really where the office is. And they got people coming in the airport that are upset because it's cold. People were delayed. So it's just not a good time. And I'm walking in there like, excuse me, got my baby in the car crying. My family's here. Like, we want to go to Portland, Maine, get those huge donuts. Come on, can we just get this thing rolling? They're like, car's fine. Like, I've started it 15 times and I'm not hearing anything. Nothing. Be like, is it a hybrid? I was like, yeah, I think so. It doesn't make noise when you start it. Just hit the button and just back up. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But after 20 years of driving, and especially some of these big, pickup trucks in the South, you hear that vroom, 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 vroom. Heck, I heard it like 6 times. Somebody thought they were taking me off the line. You can have it. I drive a Honda Accord. If you're trying to beat me off, punching off the line in front of Texas Roadhouse here, like that guy was doing earlier, have at it, Haas. You got me. I'm not going to try to beat you on this one. But it came to that, and I remember now, like, that's what we had. All we had to do was hit a button on this thing to change it from the audio to program on a button that we didn't know. And now we're ready to go. Well, football, if you watched last night, good old foosball, probably should have taken Bobby Boucher's mama's advice and not watch Navy play because that was bad. And Coach Ken, Nia Malatololo, is that how we go? I think that's pretty solid right there. His name and Giannis are the ones you don't venture out all the time. I just call him Coach Ken. But he wakes up every morning, puts the flowers around, gets laid. You know what I mean? We know the drill and why. Didn't get an aloha yesterday. It was pretty bad from the beginning too. We boast at the beginning about Navy. That's our secondary team. UWF has now become our first. Navy is the secondary team, and then it's a platoon of SEC.
Go Gators.
And better than your big O right in the front of the car right there. I can track you down from anywhere. Yesterday you were behind us on Creighton about 30 blocks down the road, and I saw you coming at us right there.
Stands out.
Like the movie Cars. You can see Mater coming. Now, I'm looking right there and saying, okay, it's a pick spread. It was going to be close. Before that, we said BYU has a better team. They have better players. We knew that. But Navy was going to be poised. They were going to be ready. They were going to be disciplined. I saw something in the first half that I don't think I've ever witnessed personally, and I've been to 2 Army-Navy games. Rob Brown and I had a chance to be on the sidelines there in Philadelphia. It was one of the best experiences ever, and there's nothing like it. Going to an Army-Navy game is worth it. It's not about the football, not about the triple option attack. It's about the passion of not only the game, but what it means. Those guys serving combat duty and the missions they serve and the true patriots that really, even though COVID is a concern, that's not on their priority list of things that could get to them this year. COVID-19 is not on their top 10. Watching out for, on the side of the road, people setting up mines so they could save their brothers in arms. It's more important.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of those guys on the field, they needed a Keenan Reynolds yesterday. They needed somebody to be able to go out there. But I saw something I've never seen. I saw a false start penalty, and I don't think I've ever seen a penalty. Now, like Flozell Adams used to get like 9 a game for the Cowboys. But I saw more penalties on Navy, beating themselves. They tried to throw the ball, and you're like, oh, trick play. And the guy gets it knocked out of his hands. All the little things that Navy never loses, you expect them on 3rd down and 8 not to get a first down because you're like, it's going to run the ball. It's going to try to take a – it's like the movie 300. He's like, this is a first down. And he's like already stopped 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and they're just pushing the pile, and you're like, come on, bro. Little screen pass, a slant. You got to get 8. And you know they're not going to get it. Well, that's one thing. But fumbles, false starts, man, there was a lot of that yesterday. And I know I got caught in the weeds of a fantasy football draft during you and the other El Jefe during a nice text message group going on. And I felt bad, but I was also picking some in the middle of picking some players. I ended up getting Miles Sanders, by the way. I ended up getting him, and I don't know what to think of it.
What round did you get him in? 3rd, 2nd?
I think it was my 3rd pick. I got to look back. I think it was either 2nd or 3rd.
You got him 3rd round.
I got Michael
solid.
Thomas. I got Michael Thomas with my first. Number 6.
Michael Thomas lasted to 6?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got real lucky with that one.
Wow.
I was very excited about that. I've got a team. My whole team is like, guys that you're like, okay, they have the paper name now, but they're not the stars. The ones that
That's
like
how you win. Is getting those guys.
My running backs, Aaron Jones, Miles Sanders, guys that are not like household names yet, but I got Keenan Allen in like the 6th or 7th round. Everybody was afraid because Tyrod Taylor. You guys get scaring the bejesus out of everyone right now. But pretty solid team. I'll read it, but right now we got more things to get to.
Now, look, the Navy BYU game, look, I didn't know this, or I never would have said this, because just think about when you were going back to playing football. Navy did not – that was the first time they had tackled this season.
See, we didn't know that.
He went on – and, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He went on to talk about this, that they didn't do it. They didn't tackle because they were trying to limit, obviously, guys being around other guys with COVID and everything. Because remember, we look at BYU, and these guys, when they go to practice, they're going to practice for football. When Navy goes to practice, it's their extracurricular activity because these guys are still getting ready to go overseas. Like you were talking about, who knows? You're going to Syria, you're going to Iraq, you're going to where – you don't know where you're going to be once it's all done. So you still have your other training and things you have to do. That's why guys, they sell out to go to these games. Mm-hmm. You see all the cadets and stuff and midshipmen up there in the stands. That's why that was what was weird last night, by the way. That empty stadium, guy just throws you off. But anyway, that was the first time they had tackled. Coach Ken went out there and he said, look, we had our dummies and that's about it. You could tell. I mean, big time. It's different when you have a grown man chasing after you, trying to tackle you. You look at Dalen Morris, the quarterback, just looked lost. I mean, look, they're missing that offense again. But Coach K made a good point. There's a lot of things that you can talk about tackling all you want to. That team just didn't look right overall. And credit BYU. BYU up front in the trenches dominated. Look, this is a fun BYU team. Zach Wilson's healthy. Zach Wilson proved he's good out there. They've got the running backs. They've got some wide receivers. I know Navy, it's Navy right now that hadn't really practiced. This is going to be a good BYU team, and we're getting BYU Army this coming week too. I guess they're just playing all the service academies that are playing. But, look, hats off to BYU. For Navy, if you're a Navy fan, everything will be okay. I don't see this being one of those bad seasons. They just got too much talent out there, but regardless, you've got to credit BYU. BYU looked really, really good, which is good for football to have a team like that right now.
So far, they've started their resume by beating Tennessee and going out there and beating Navy right out of the gate. Look, BYU's one of those teams that some people think they're in the Pac-12, like them in Utah are one. People are very – look, everybody in different areas are very ignorant to other things that are normal, even in our country. Like, we're obviously ignorant to what's going on in the world, which is okay. I mean, we're America. We're America, baby. But there are things over there. Most people don't know that a lot of countries you learn 3 or 4 different languages to, live there. Most people don't know what the capital of places all over are. The biggest city would be that. And a lot of people don't. But you know what? That's okay. The one thing, though, is the different areas. Like, when I lived out in Vegas, not everybody knew who Tim Tebow was. Around here, You get pulled over like the nun used to do back in school, might get paddled for that in Gainesville. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. And one thing you're talking about right there is that BYU, they have ventured out and played a lot of people. Like, they might be in the Mountain West, but they play a lot of different teams. Like, when you always talk about Boise State, and they never played anybody, but then they did play Oregon, 1-2 punch to LeGarrette Blount that day. Or went in to Georgia, which is pretty much a home game, where they were switching up their uniforms. Remember, Georgia looked like robotics in that? And they go out and they beat the Georgia Dogs, and then people still are like, well, if they did that on an everyday basis, they never could win.
Yep.
There's been 3 teams in the history of college football that I've seen in my lifetime that deserved a shot. I'm not saying that they would have beaten Alabama or beaten the big dogs, but they deserved a shot to prove it. In my lifetime, and we're in the same, and both these teams are in our lifetime. You know one of them, but Boise State, when Kellen Moore went 35-3, those teams were really good. They had pros all over that field. Ian Johnson, Austin Pettis, there were really good players. Then the other team would be Andy Dalton and TCU. Before somebody goes, so, hold your Jets, man. That's a Big 12 team. They were Mountain West at the time. They played Wisconsin in the bowl game. They went out there, very good team. And then UCF. And once again, after beating Auburn, the team that beat Alabama and Georgia, who played in that year's national title, they deserved that shot. Once again, not saying they were an 11-point underdog in the Peach Bowl. So I understand what we would have been when we put billboards up in Tuscaloosa. But they still deserved a shot. The other Colt Brennan, Hawaii stuff, the Western Michigans of the world, the Broncos of P.J. Fleck, the Northern Illinois teams, get it out of here. Get that trash out of here. Those teams were just there because of their schedule. BYU has played a lot of teams, and they're solid. That is a solid team that never is going to let down, and I think Navy saw it last night.
What are we going to do? Because I'm going to read you this schedule, and this could cause chaos. Believe it or not.
Is this the Cougs schedule?
This is.
They're very active around the country.
They had to reschedule their entire schedule because of canceled and all this other stuff. They were supposed to play a bunch of Pac-12 teams and things like that. Didn't work out. They play Army next.
Okay.
Then they play Troy.
Wait a second. Citadel, Air Force. No, I thought there was a trend going on.
They play Army. Then they play Troy. Then they play UTSA, San Antonio.
Roadrunners, yeah.
Yep. They play Houston.
Larry Coker's still not there, is he?
I don't think so.
Okay, I was going to just mark him as a W if he is.
They play Houston. They play Texas State, Western Kentucky, and finish at North Alabama. Well, at home against North Alabama. This team, if they beat Army, outside of maybe the Houston game, Derek King's gone though. What if they go 8-0? And I know they're trying to add another game. What if they go 9-0 and they dominate? They just purely dominate. Like, I'm just saying.
You got to revert back to that day. So far in the eye test, they're winning it all.
They looked good.
I mean, they did look good, but Navy also looked like they did not want to be there.
Yes, but the thing is like you look at that, like you watch Clemson beat down the Citadel, and you're like, it's the Citadel though, but you can still see those players, just the type of players they are. And that's what this. I'm just saying, look, that schedule is, if they get past Army, is very favorable for them to go undefeated. So I don't know.
I think it's bad mojo to say breaking news on somebody's with an injured ankle.
Nah,
okay, I'm not worried about it. Giannis is out for Game 5. I don't think this is one of these stories that was like, this was cooler a week and a half ago. I'm just saying. Like right now, honestly, to tell you the truth, the way he plays, Milwaukee has a better chance. Not to win the game. I'm not one of those guys. They're better without Giannis.
So Chris Middleton said, did you see that?
No, but the team around them gets better because the team around them is a bunch of shooters. Shooters got to get in a rhythm. You have Kyle Korver on that court. You got guys like that. When Kyle Korver is open, he needs to pull the trigger immediately. Shoot that.
I agree.
And
That's
instead,
what he's there for.
He quickly gets the ball, and then he's like, ooh, is Giannis open? And then by that time, it's too late. So Wes Matthews, Giannis, George Hill. George Hill led the NBA in percentage. These guys can shoot threes. Chris Middleton, even Brook Lopez once in a while pulls the trigger. But Giannis is the kind of guy that he's going to make – I don't know if he makes – I've seen them play without him, and they're pretty solid. Now, once again, they're a better overall team with Giannis, but this doesn't mean the game is over. There are some guys, if Kawhi Leonard's off the court, the Clippers have no shot. I mean, long term, they might be able to get one from Denver because it's very similar.
Take LeBron away.
But no, Anthony Davis more than LeBron. But yes, LeBron too. If you take LeBron,
I'm just saying who fills in LeBron.
Well, that's true. If LeBron's off the court, that team is a bunch of bobos. That backcourt with Caruso and KCP, not really scaring anybody.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, let me rephrase it. But there are a lot of teams like that. Like Jimmy Butler, the Heat are not as good with Jimmy Butler.
No.
Same
not even
thing.
Close.
I mean, Toronto's one of those teams that probably could lose somebody and be okay. Like if Siakam was off, they'd still be all right, but they don't want it.
I don't think they could lose Van Fleet, though.
Either Van Fleet or Kyle Lowry, one of them, because they both are point guards. You have 2 point guards that can shoot.
You got to have one of them out there for sure.
But right now you have Game 5, and they weren't coming back to beat the Heat anyway. The Heat should have closed out the series. They started to celebrate South Beach style a little, like in that fourth quarter, and allowed the Bucks to get one. Little charity event right there.
Yeah, that's
so
what that was.
This is Game 5. They'll take it. Then tonight, L.A. and Houston. The Lakers back there. I think the Lakers figured it out. The Lakers are a team that when they say we're figuring this out, they're a better team. You can just tell by watching them play. But we'll see. James Harden, Russell Westbrook. If you're a Laker fan, pay me good cash, because every time I watch Russell Westbrook and Harden, they brick a ton of shots.
Yep.
Then I go to bed because they play a lot of the late-night games, and I wake up in the morning and they had 50. So if you want me tonight, Laker fans, if you're listening in, there's a lot of them out there, buy me a couple of drinks, hang out with me tonight. I'll just focus in on the game. I've done
friends.
This. What was the last time I did this? Luke Voigt. Luke Voigt. And what did he do when we were leaving the studio? He hit a home run. I bring up that every time I see this guy, he hits a home run. He hit 2 that day.
No,
while I was watching.
Literally a minute after you said that, he hit it. We were on air, and then we had mentioned that he had hit one, and then as soon as we went off the show, he hit another one.
He hit another one, and I said, for a guy that's making $7 to $8 million a year, it is worth, and he's going to get more from the Yankees. It is worth. I'll take $20,000 a year with free travel and board.
Take Josh McCown's job, $12,000 a week.
That's what I'm saying.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but Josh is actually not helping Philly. I'm actually helping Voigt get that.
No, you just sit on your couch and you just say, "I'm going to watch him." There you go.
It's just him. I turn my eyes. I don't look at. I hate the Yankees. He's like, all right, he hits a home run. Like, I'm not cheering this on. Really hate you guys. I'm just proud that you hit a home run. You're paying me to do that. Hey, good luck, Charms. You know how much money Rabbit's Foot's made? Seriously. Oh, sorry about that. That's a sore subject. I apologize for that. But
how dare you?
You know how much money is made on those in this country? I'm actually good luck.
Are Rabbit's Foot still relevant, by the way? Is that still a thing nowadays? I remember growing up.
I'm sure PETA got to that.
PETA's got to everything.
I'm sure. Were they real feet though?
I don't know.
I never had. I never bought into that. I did a tarot card reading one time. I was not under. I wasn't at full capacity. That could be Monday through Sunday, but I wasn't in full state when I did it. Started laughing at the lady. She actually turned out to be semi-right.
Let's help me none.
Have you ever done a tarot card reading?
No, I have not. No, I haven't. I've been worried about that. I don't want to know.
I don't either. Look, I'm a man of faith, too. I don't get into all this
exactly.
mumbo-jumbo. But they do say things like, you will leave this place in a vehicle. Be like, yeah, it's in the middle of the woods. I'm not walking here. It's like, thank you. Thank you for being on top of that right there.
So the Rabbit's Foot thing, this is why it's not helpful. Some are real, some are imitation, and some are plastic. I don't understand. I thought plastic would be imitation, but whatever. So
once around here, there's going to be some around here, I'm sure, that are still like straight out of it. Now, this is not good terms for you. I know.
No, it's not.
So we're going to move on from this subject and go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll get to Colin Kaepernick. Look, he made it back. Ho, 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 on a video game. 2016. Well, Madden signed him.
Go Gators. Is that
sure? I don't think. No, don't affiliate. Don't affiliate the orange and blue on this conversation.
Sorry.
Just, we're coming back for more.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
It could be a routine drive to pick up the kids after school or an epic road trip across the country.
No matter where your travels take you, we know those miles count. We're Marathon. We have over 5,700 stations across our great nation. Our people are working hard every day to provide you with quality top-tier gasoline to improve engine performance and fuel your life. Marathon, fueling the American spirit.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
For your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. Greg Maddux faced 20,421 batters in his career, and of those 20,000, only 310 of them went to a 3-0 count. 177 of those were intentional walks. And in 1998, Miami of Ohio running back Travis Prentice set the NCAA FBS record for the most consecutive rushes without losing a fumble. He carried the ball 365 times for over 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns. He also holds the career record at 862 carries without a fumble. That's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP.
Chapper Leonte here with the Sports Drive, checking in on the AP Top 25 preseason poll in college football. The Clemson Tigers opened the season at number 1, followed by Ohio State at 2 and Alabama at 3. 7 teams out of the SEC made the top 25, and 4 in the top 10, with Alabama 3, Georgia 4, LSU 6, and Florida number 8. 9 teams out of the Big Ten and Pac-12 made it, but only for the preseason, without playing in 2020. And FSU still a little work to go, with 6 top 25 votes.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Drive. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. That's what they were missing. Not to say it was they invited me out there for the Roy Jones Jr. single hit right there, but nobody needs to see those dance moves or those moves.
I did him a favor by not going.
I clearly did him a favor with those moves right there.
It'll be a lot better without me.
No. Depends.
I can line dance. I don't think they want my line dancing in their video.
Tampa Bay Buccaneer Leonard Fournette now. That's going to take a little while to say. Half their team, I guess it is. The Bucs jersey sales got a lot of Marshall Rat guys this year and a lot of new faces. Like,
I'm going to be on the lookout.
What's the hot ticket jersey? Leonard Fournette, first off, is acting like he's clearly the guy. Right now, you're still third on the depth chart. And I'm not saying that you're not going to be number 1, but currently, LaShawn McCoy and Ronald Jones. I think Yahoo is so full of it when it comes to, I could have just stopped there, but I was going to say for fantasy football. But half of them yesterday, like Bruce Arians has reiterated, Ronald Jones will be our guy. I'm like, after a few carries when you realize Leonard Fournette's still more talented. Like, he's still more talented than Ronald Jones. Does Ronald know the offense a lot better? Sure. But nobody is going to convince me right now that even after Leonard Fournette not living up to his extremely high value when he came out, thinking he was going to be 1,700 yards every year, 20 touchdowns minimum, now he's gone out there and he's been solid. I mean, he's had 1,000-yard seasons, but they're acting like he's not even there. Well, Leonard flips the script today, and he's like, man, I'm glad I finally have a quarterback. Like, yeah, I've never heard a backup. Like, Tony Pollard's not – he's pretty solid. Tony Pollard's not coming out and being like, yeah, I'm so glad I'm playing now with Michael Gallup. Everybody like, excuse me, can you wait your turn while Zeke gets up here? We're about to talk to Zeke Elliott, and then we'll get to you. Fournette's doing press conferences. He's ready to go. Currently, bro, you're third string on that roster. That's not worth a go Tigers, is it, on that one?
No, not on that. I'm skeptical on Leonard Fournette anyway. I have said before, just not a very good locker room guy. And here's the thing: if Leonard Fournette's the backup for very long,
third string right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's not number one, there's gonna be a little unrest. And yes, even if they're winning, I want to make that clear. He still wants to be the spotlight guy.
Yeah. Well, you're clearly not the spotlight guy this year.
Exactly. So
because obviously there's a guy by the name of Chris Godwin. All right, moving on to the end. Oh,
I thought you were talking about Scotty Miller, but that's okay.
Yeah, true. O.J. Howard.
But shameful on Leonard Fournette. How the disrespect to Blake Bortles, his quarterback in 2017, and Gardner Minshew. What, Chad Henne?
If Brady never gets traded, well, Gronk never goes there. But in just straight up jersey sales, who wins, Gronk or Leonard Fournette with these moves?
Gronk. Gronk's such a favorite though. Like everybody loves him. I mean, he's fun to watch, and then the younger generation loves him because they want to be the kids that can go out there and continue to party and do this and have fun, but then come out and be a boss on the football field. Like,
first off,
dreams of.
Word of advice, because I tried that as Vegas Chip for 3 or 4 years. That doesn't always lead to the best lifestyle.
Exactly.
Unless you get a job within that. Like I always said, I like to, I socially drank. I wasn't one of those guys that had to get off the show. Martha, cracking open a cold one. Daddy, you want to hear about your day? Not until Daddy passes out on the couch watching this game with this brewski. Like, I'm not that guy. Don't need that. That's the story. Now, but at the same time, as a bartender, I said I like to socially, when I was in a social atmosphere, I would like to have a drink.
Which is your job.
So at the time, hey, all right, hey. So at that time, it's a little bit different. Well, kids, don't go by the Gronk theory. If you want to get into becoming like a really good doctor, lawyer, engineer, CPA, you want to get into, contracting with homes and development, they make a lot of money. The richest people in the world right now in New York City, some of the people that bid on different properties, they don't even have to have the money. I found out from my friend. He dropped out of high school. He's worth like $20 million. All he does is his investment groups bids on properties in Manhattan for construction firms.
I despise people that.
That's all he does, and that they sit back and collect envelopes and a couple Uncle Tonys. Make sure that I get the property, and he's like, I can make that happen. Just make a call. I sit back in an office, probably with one of those cool chairs that swivels. Maybe had some heat buttons on it. Like he's doing good for himself. One of those tall
Fish
buildings.
tank in the office? Is he one of those? Yeah. One
Do you know somebody in New York City that has an office above floor 30? I don't.
No.
That's what I'm saying. He's one of those guys. Maybe I do.
I know somebody that's trying to make it in New York City.
That's what I'm saying.
They're like, unless you're one of those upper echelon people, you're all the same.
That's our topic today. It sounds like a Levitard show, but our topic, how many people do you know in New York City that have a skyrise above floor 30, if you have that? That guy, you're on the, I feel like you're on the elevator with the guy with the poodle and all that other stuff. You have a heated pool at like floor 15. What floor do you need? Oh, don't worry. You don't have to push it. I've got a key for that. Ding. You're like, oh, wow. The guy's got a key. I didn't know that existed.
Special elevator.
Yeah. I thought this hotel only went up to 30 floors. Oh, you. There's like 200 floors.
You must be new here.
Please. Stay on floor 29. With all the other hedge fund moguls. Let me bask in my glory. Now, a lot of people, it is. It's a different world out there. Around here, people are like, we actually have laws and ordinance where you can't build over a certain height. I don't think somebody's like, yeah, because the Blue Angel. I said, that's a very good way to sound like clearly saying that. I started laughing when he said that too. Yeah, but Blue Angels fly over the city. I said, no, it's not why. They also fly over New York City, buddy. Like, but when he said that, I started cracking up because he sounded so confident. Yeah, he did. It sounded almost as bad as that guy for it almost sounded as bad as the guy that Feinbaum on the drive-in where he was saying that he's going to take Michigan. And then Feinbaum was like, hey, buddy. And he's like, no, I really believe they're coming back. I'm like, that's not up to you, man. What are you doing right now? Like, why would you do that?
He believes. It must happen.
That's the guy that bets his whole pot on green on the roulette wheel. And he's like, this is my chance. Like, okay.
No, I know.
I know there's a lot more of those red and black in there, but I'm going green, baby. Woo! Woohoo!
3 years later, he finally gets green.
I'm also taking Michigan to win it all this year. And they're out for COVID. Go Wolverines. Got it. Not going to be bitterly disappointed this year. I think that's a lot of what you're seeing right now with Leonard Fournette and that whole crew, though. This is going to be one in Tampa this year that they still have to prove it. We're not going to be Mike Tannenbaum and go out there and make a mockery of saying the Saints aren't going to be a playoff team.
Nope, not doing that.
No bold prediction there. That's not bold. There's a difference between crazy and bold. Bold is going out there at the age of if you have a bold would be if you have a toupee and you buy a drop top and you go like 75 down the highway. That's bold.
That is quite bold.
That's quite bold.
Quite bold.
Stupid, not bold, is to buy a Camaro, go out on the highway, blindfold yourself, drink 2 things of Dewar's, and drive backwards. That's not bold. That's stupidity. Tannenbaum's pick to say the New Orleans Saints aren't going to be close to the playoffs, that's more stupidity than bold. Now, I could be wrong, and now I'll eat all those words. You can archive this. We're at 5:32 on September 8th and come back. And you can send this video. It'd be a great Christmas laugh for Tannenbaum. Like, look at this gesture back here. But there's no chance. Saints are not, unless Breeze gets hurt. And then what did we do last year? When I say we, I was with them for 2 hours. I was with them. Now, what did they do? They go out there and Teddy Bridgewater goes 5-0. Getting no love, by the way. They're a 1-point underdog at home to Las Vegas to kick off the season.
Dane's only one? Everybody's so high on the Raiders
I'm not
this
touching
year.
the Panthers.
They have Jameis Winston.
Lane wants to go to school. I'm not doing this year. With Panthers are done.
And this is completely obviously.
Just joking with everyone.
And because I know that people will criticize it. But if something, God forbid, was to, knock on wood here, whatever this fake wood, whatever this is, I don't know. Anyway, if something happens to Drew Brees and Jameis has to step in, because I'm not buying the whole Taysom Hill's the number 2 quarterback on the roster. I'm not going to buy that.
Yeah.
Long term, they're going Jameis Winston. Does Jameis Winston have the same success as Teddy Bridgewater? When you look at it, with the offense and everything like that, Teddy comes in, does a great job, but Teddy's been a good quarterback. He just had a terrible injury. Does Jameis have that same success? He knows the Saints better than anybody. He's thrown to these guys before.
Yeah,
he's
good at
but does he
that.
have success? Does he have Teddy Bridgewater success?
Yeah. Well, literally, you can't do better than what Teddy did last year. He walked in and went 5-0.
I'm just
2
saying,
road games.
But Jameis has more of the athletic ability where he can throw it downfield a lot. But Teddy's more of a game manager type guy. He can make some throws, but Jameis wants to air it out, which may work with this offense. I don't know. But do you think he'll have, the same success, more success?
Yeah.
I think he might.
Teddy Bridgewater, I don't know what they're going to do with Carolina overall because they got a lot of problems, and losing Luke Kuechly is huge. But
Greg Olson's gone.
Bridgewater is one of the most disrespected quarterbacks ever. Even when he was in Minnesota, he had a winning record. Then he got hurt. And then he was on the Jets, and people are like, Jets didn't want him. Well, the Jets make stupid moves all the time.
That's why they didn't want him.
But Bridgewater has a winning record throughout his career and has been pretty solid. Now he's working with Joe Brady. I'm not, like I said, not ready to give up on the Panthers. You know where my golden ticket is. Not to say they have to do great, but over under 6 wins is where they're sitting in Vegas. That's a golden ticket right there. Some of the other stuff going on right now, Lincoln Riley.
My question.
Which one?
You still didn't answer.
Which one?
Jameis can have more success.
No, I said
do you
no.
like him
I said he couldn't have any. I did in a way to say no.
Do you like him? Like, if he has to come in, do you think he'll have success?
Well, yeah. He's working with better players. Maybe not a better receiving core. Now it's questionable. They added Emmanuel Sanders and Jared Cook over the last couple of years. But, he would have to go 5-0 to be that. So I can say I think he goes 3-2 if he came in with that roster.
I think he throws 0 interceptions because he's thrown to these guys before. He knows them.
I would hope, obviously. Go Jameis. Let's go ahead and take a break. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Go Gators.
Hurricane season is upon us, and although we aim to bring you the latest news in sports, we're committed to bringing the Pensacola community the latest updates and information during the 2020 hurricane season. In collaboration with our sister stations, News Radio 92.3, AM 1620, and Cat Country 98.7, stay up to date with breaking weather news and updates on the biggest storms impacting Northwest Florida by checking our Facebook pages at Cat Country 98.7, News Radio 92.3, and ESPN Pensacola.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right? Making sure you have no holes in your defense. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. And you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G. No contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Whether you're building a new home or considering a renovation, choosing the right construction partner makes all the difference. At Lacoste Construction Group, they pride themselves on client experience and true craftsmanship, specializing in both new construction and renovations for both commercial and residential projects. Lacoste Construction Group will deliver you a quality turnkey project and is with you every step from consulting and budgeting to design and engineering. Get started turning your home or business into the space of your dreams today at LacosteConstructionGroup.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-285-4954. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-285-4954. 800-285-4954.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Hey, this is Jay Williams. You're listening to Sports Drive with Chad Brillante on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back, Sports Drive, 5:39 on this Tuesday after.
It's Tuesday.
Oh, it's got to.
We had football.
We actually did the show yesterday, but still got to transition over. And we did have football yesterday. It was not great if you were a Navy fan, but it's a different when in Rome, right? It's 2020. I thought, did you see that story in right now in Colorado? Not as much story as Mother Nature, but it went from 94 to overnight they were going to get 10 inches of snow.
I didn't see
94 degrees. Adam Schefter, he's just reporting. He's going Twitter crazy. He's become personal. I appreciate it. When you got a busy day, we're trying to get a ton of everything moving right now. We got the NFL Tailgate Show coming to Beef O'Brady's this Sunday. It's going to be awesome. But we got so many moving pieces going on right now. It helps when a guy's giving me that ancillary stuff that you really don't need to know about, but it's still cool to find out. It went from 94 degrees in Colorado to going to overnight about 10 inches of snow and 20 to 30 degrees. You want to talk about does that beat the murder hornets for insanity in 2020?
48 hours later. So Sunday afternoon, it was over 97 degrees. They set a record. And tonight, the lows in the low 30s with about 10 inches of snow.
So imagine being at the
all right.
The beach is so hot, and you wake up in the morning, and all of a sudden you look outside and you're snowed in. I would think we're under that movie. It was a horrible movie. It was a sci-fi movie, but that Geostorm or whatever. with Gerard Butler. Like, I would think we're under one of those. I'd be like, we're done. Just hug your family, call your friends. That's happening right now in Colorado. That's actually happening right now in Colorado. So, geostorm for all the people out there dealing with that.
Good thing it's beautiful out there.
Some of those people are like, what am I seeing, man? They're like, just all these bunnies and clouds.
Think about this? What if you were like just, I don't know, I'm not saying anything about homeless people or anything, but what if you were just outside, you just like fell asleep on the trampoline,
hanging out at the beach down by one of the lakes.
You're hammered. You're just laying on the shore or whatever. You wake up
you're
covered in snow.
Yeah, you're like, what is this?
Oh, my goodness.
It might be covered in snow anyway, but it wouldn't be snowing. Oklahoma, well, they are going to make a lot of that noise
Sorry,
right after
Oklahoma.
No correlation here, folks, that we know of.
That was for the snow.
Yeah, Oklahoma test results for the coronavirus will no longer be shared publicly. Lincoln Riley said, look, I think we're at the point now where we're playing games, and obviously any active case or contact trace is going to have game repercussions. So just like we would with any injury, the most transparent, pretty much at this point, he said, we're at a competitive disadvantage to do it. I don't blame him for this at all. Look, here's the deal we know. If you test positive for COVID, you're not going to play. These doctors, everybody in here is acting like, oh, everybody is, Colorado State did try to pull some fast ones. But most schools in here, it was made pretty clear at the beginning with lawsuits and liability that you're not going to go and fool somebody on a test. Now, Florida State tried to lie to people, and there should be accountability to that. Guys should have been out of here. But if they have a test that comes back positive, that guy's going to they're going to test everybody. But what happened to Tennessee this week? 41 people missed practice. Everyone's like, man, are they going to shut down the whole program? No, they're not shutting down the program. I think there was, 8 or 9 positive tests?
7 to 8, yep.
Yeah, so the rest of them, they're just trying to take the safety and precautionary measures. And remember, the SEC doesn't play till the 26th, so it's in good standing to do that. It's the right thing to do now. Oklahoma doesn't owe anybody that information. Now, the parents of those kids will get that information anyway if the kid, just like anything. You fail a test in school, if it was made public, you'd be like, Mom and Dad are paying for school. They should know that you're getting.
Thank goodness it's not public.
Yeah, exactly. That's up to you. That's up to the kid with his family to tell him. And I hope, for COVID's sake and everything, and if it is not an asymptomatic case, then yes, because you need people around you to help you. Not as much for these kids. I mean, let's be real with what it is, but we don't need to get into that. That took 4 months of my life. Actually, took a lot of my life. But when it comes down to this is something people are like, we demand answers. No, you don't need them. Quit. The media used to actually report on stories. Now people want stuff, whether there's a story or not, to create stories. Journalism has gone to a whole new level.
More false than truth.
The worst thing that I see now is breaking news stories. The worst one, complete hogwash, was the Kawhi Leonard when he was getting traded. Breaking news. I even got the da-na-na, da-na-na. I was in the middle of, I needed to check my phone, but I was in the middle of something important. I look over and I'm like, okay, breaking news. Okay, cool.
That was with a burner phone,
too.
It
was the burner. It's still on there. Earlier, we had an Amber Alert thing going on, and this one and the burner phone, and I was like, everybody's like, who's still going off? And I was like, I returned my
burner phone.
Right. It's not a real burner phone, people. But when it comes down to this story right here, the breaking news story was Kawhi Leonard is now contemplating whether it's going to be Dallas, the Lakers, or the Clippers. It's like, isn't that what we're trying to figure out anyway? When he was not going to play for the Raptors? Like, that's not news. That, to me, is still breaking news. He's narrowed down to 3 from 4. Breaking news is he just got signed by the Clippers. And half those stories aren't real because they fail their drug test, or somebody, not Kawhi, but somebody fails a test, and the next thing you know, they're not there. According to Chris Mortensen, Michael Crabtree was a Patriot. A-Rod was a Red Sox at one point. So, you know what? Sometimes these stories don't go through. But breaking news should be actual news, not breaking news. The Big Ten had a conversation with the president about playing. That's not breaking news. That breaking news would be they discussed and now they actually are playing. I don't mind knowing that news, but breaking news should be something that's actually worth breaking.
The whole Lincoln Riley situation I laugh at because, Rick Neuheisel was talking on Sirius XM about it, and he said, I never would have said anything. I never would have gave my information, period, to people. He goes, because it's none of the media's business. He goes, but the fact that Lincoln Riley has given them and stayed open like some of these other teams have, he goes, that's awesome but now he's taking it away because it's season. The season's here now. It's no more. It's who's playing, all this kind of. He goes, if it was me and they asked me that question, hey, so who's your quarterback? He goes, I'm the type of guy that would be like, I guess you'll find out on Saturday when we take the field. That's just the way coaches can be. People forget that, and people in the media become spoiled to that. So, hats off to him. Look, I get it. Obviously, a guy that has COVID is not going to play. Just that's it. And guess what? That's all we need to know. Do we want to know if the quarterback gets COVID? The starting quarterback for your team or whatever? Yeah, you want to know. But understand, you don't have a right to know that. That's the difference in all this. Like, I get it. So the starting quarterback, if he's not playing, then we obviously know something's up. But I get it because, look, Oklahoma, all this stuff, there is a competitive advantage. If you're preparing for Spencer Rattler and you get Joe Billings over here, who's the backup, who's a different style he's a drop back passer, he can't really roll out, he's not a fleet of foot type guy, you're going to prepare different. That's just common knowledge. So I get it, but I get so aggravated when these stories and these people are like, well, he can't do that. Yes.
I know a guy named Joe Billings who sells fireworks, not at a place. It's just his stand. Yeah. It's called the Average Joe.
I've met those guys that they're like that. So
Joe Billings. Probably somebody out there in the South knows a Joe Billings. Sounds like.
I don't know where I came up with Billings.
I think I got if you Facebook names, like there's some names that you if you did Brillante, there's a group of like 9 of us. Part of a group. Remember that one?
He is not part of your group.
That's not. It was part of a group that I said that, and it's one of like 2 things that FCC laws. Apparently, he was sending me a friend request. I wasn't part of that group, if you know what I mean. They wear black robes, and I'm not a friend of them. I was not part of that. Thank you for having the same name and ruining it for my family that I didn't know in Papua New Guinea. But this situation here with Joe Billings, I bet that name comes up. I bet there's like 800 in our area locally. It's one of those like, you got to be kidding me. I was trying to meet up with this guy, and I don't even know who he is now. Don't meet up with Joe.
Joe, do you play quarterback for Oklahoma?
I almost guarantee there'd be 20 in this area. Joe Billings just sounds like
I'm going to type in Joe Billings college football.
You don't even have Facebook, though. So
I don't.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a break on that Joe Billings note. But,
Billings.
Oklahoma, you don't have to do anything. And Lincoln Riley, you don't have to listen to me either. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
And Joe Billings.
This is Tort Talk with personal injury lawyer Terrence A. Gross.
Florida's no-fault law was passed in 1971. However, several changes took place in 2013 which negatively impacted accident victims. First, if you do not treat within 14 days, you lose your PIP benefits. Second, massage therapy and acupuncture are no longer covered benefits. Finally, if you pay for 10,000 benefits and are not EMC certified, you may only have 2,500 in coverage.
Visit grossandschuster.com.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight, and we will beat this pandemic.
Prepare your girl to take the lead like never before. Engineer, innovator, entrepreneur, changemaker, leader, your girl will gain the courage, confidence, and character to be anything she wants to be. From outdoor exploration to scholarship opportunities, Girl Scouts of Gateway Council provides a one-of-a-kind experience, adventure, and sisterhood. We're keeping all girls connected, engaged, and inspired during this time with brand new virtual events and activities.
Level up your girls' future today by joining Girl Scouts at joingssgc.org/leader.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use ClosetBox instead? ClosetBox is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for or unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code Radio50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
The latest sports news is at ESPNpensacola.com and on Facebook at ESPN Pensacola. Plus, watch Chad Brillante, Coach K, and Sports Call live on our exclusive YouTube channel, ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Coming up on Sports Call this Saturday, fantasy football is officially back, so we have Field Yates, fantasy football expert from ESPN, joining the program. Also, I made myself a promise, and I've already broken it. That and more from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
These wheels need a two-lane. This radio needs 3 songs to play to get me across town to you. That dress needs to slip off. That hair needs to come down. Friday nights need to do what Friday nights need to do. That's the truth. Yeah, birds need bees and ice needs whiskey.
Welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. You know your team stinks when you're expecting a base hit from a guy named Alex Baum. Not too many people even know who he is, but he is getting ready to go here. The Philadelphia Phillies are in one of those doubleheaders today against the Red Sox, and it's the bottom of the 7th, which is now the final inning for the doubleheader. 2 outs. They're up 5-4, and guys are at second and third. So like a base hit, they lose. This is going right now. Nobody else really cares. But at this point, this is 2 hideous pitching staffs going at it right now. This is
you don't like Barnes?
So Barnes is okay, but he really should not be a closer on any team outside of a really bad Red Sox team. They got rid of the other one that should have been a closer, and now he's with the Phillies, Brandon Workman. So, I mean, it's
and they were excited to get him, too.
Those are both guys, when they come in back in the day, you're like, get him out of here. I don't know. I'd rather have Barnes than every other guy in the staff, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt in this one. So we'll see on this. But talking about some of the other stuff going on here today, we talked about Oklahoma. They don't have to share that information when it comes down to it. I don't blame Lincoln Riley for 2 seconds for that. Also last night, Navy, Coach Ken said they didn't really prepare, and that was on him. It's also a little on the players. I know the coach is always going to take a lot of that, but the players needed to show a little more than that. Out of Navy, you would expect a little more, but first week, when you see games that people don't prepare for in college or teams are just fully not prepared, it usually is in week 1. Remember when USC played against Alabama, and they're going to get scorched either way, but they lost 52-3. Then USC came back and was in it towards the end of winning the Pac-12. That was a different team by the end. They still would have lost, but not 52-3. Sometimes teams can go out there and they can be a Tennessee. Tennessee lost to Georgia State and BYU. They're out there beating teams like Auburn at the end of the year.
Sometimes
completely different team.
It takes them a while.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
especially young rosters.
That's what I like about the college football playoff, and I hate it about the BCS. Because college football playoff, this is part of it is the eye test. Mm-hmm. Not that I say I agree with everything they do, but if a team like USC comes back and you remember, okay, yeah, but they lost to Alabama 52-3. Okay, but this is not the same team. And so literally where the BCS would say, nope, lost by this amount, computer says this, we're moving on. There's no human element to it. That's why I like the college football playoff. I think you're right.
Looking today at...
Wait, I just said that. No, I don't think you're right. I disagree with everything.
All right, well, there you go. Looking at the games tonight with Houston and the LA Lakers, you look at this is one of these kind of things. Oh, and he allowed a base hit. Let's see if we can throw to the plate, and nope. Game over.
Wait, 2 runs scored?
Yeah, it's 6-5. They just lost on the button. Look at me packing like I'm going home. This might be gosh, that's why. Could you just get blown out, Sox?
Just don't make it close.
This is the toughest part about doing a 5 to 7 show when baseball, the NHL playoffs.
Everything.
I love watching Vegas too. They're fun. And people are like, yeah, There's many cool things to watch in Vegas. But the Vegas Golden Knights are fun. They got shut out. It sounds like an oxymoron with that offense. They got shut out. Lightning, how about this? Oh.
I know.
The Lightning are pretty much like our team based on the affiliation with – they're not – by the way, the SPHL is its own independent league. It's not like when you have a team like the Blue Wahoos are an affiliate of the Minnesota Twins and the Reds. And by the way, they're up for a new contract. People are always like, hey, we're locked in with the Twins. No, might not get to watch Kirilov or Royce Lewis. Not guaranteed. Any of that's not guaranteed. That's how minor league baseball works, though.
Yep.
We're lucky to have a team, and that whole team doesn't move somewhere to a new city. Like the Wahoos have great ownership with Quint Studer. Jonathan's really good at his job as a president. We had Bruce Baldwin, who had been around before with a lot of leadership. Like, there's a lot of good leadership down there at the field.
Yep.
Where you don't get that. I called minor league baseball. You've been around minor league baseball. That doesn't usually happen. A lot of your teams either go out like Mobile or you're looking to move them from another team quickly. Same thing, though, when you talk right now about the SPHL. It's its own independent league, so it takes more to structure. It takes all those teams. That's why there's more Fayettevilles popping up or Peorias or Evansville, not the teams that you see every single day. The Ice Flyers have been consistent. But the one team with the caravan and everything last year with the kids at school, Greg Harris does it right, and Tampa has been that team. Now, the Tampa Bay Lightning scorched the Islanders yesterday. The Islanders were in a series that they were banging it with Philadelphia. The Flyers and Gritty and all that, there was a lot. Mascots aren't invited, are they? That's probably better for everybody. I've not seen a Gritty moment.
Gritty can play.
I'm almost positive that the mascots are not invited.
No, they're not.
Because you would at least get one moment with Gritty on camera. Like, you would expect somebody for NBC to get fired if not one time did they pan in on that guy. With the orange costume shaking around out there.
Hitting kids.
Looked like a Furby that went bad. Like a mutated Furby.
God. Furby that's been at the bar too long.
Yeah. One that gets sent back, doesn't go for Christmas. All of them should have. That was
the Misfit toys with Rudolph.
Exactly. He was one of them. Remember when Gritty was under a lawsuit for pushing the kid?
That's what I'm saying. He can play some hockey.
The worst is just for the sake of the juror, that nobody wants to go to jury duty unless, you have nothing better to do. But nobody loves going to jury duty.
Unless you hate your job.
That case with Gritty, they should have made him dress up as Gritty, not as like the human that was pushing the kid, but in that suit, so they could be like every time like, "Do you have anything with your defendant?" And he's like, just shaking back there, just so the people on the jury go like, "All right, I'm ready to be
in
here."
In a Flyers suit.
Some guy yells, "Go Flyers, man!" Be like, "Who? You got to get him off the case. We didn't do. You checked 80 people. How did this guy go Flyers? We love you, Gritty." Be like, "You can't do that, man. The kid assaulted him." So you go through this whole thing. I love when you look at a team, though, like Tampa, because they got everything right now. And the way they completely dismantled the Bruins, this one's going to be over. But the teams left in hockey right now, Dallas and Vegas, should have a good game tonight. But you got that on. You got the NBA playoffs, LeBron, Houston, UFC fighting. We're going to talk with Greg LaFountain coming up here in a few minutes. He's going to join us live in studio. Obviously, college football and the NFL are back this week, the big hitters. You got MLS soccer still going on at night, back in their own stadiums. Man, it's a good time to be a sports fan.
Oh, go Gators. Oh.
JP, enjoyed it.
As always.
One more hour, buddy.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, thank God I don't have to watch any more Sox baseball. Also, we'll talk some more college football. Tough day for Navy, but more games ahead this week. And we'll also break down a little of the ACC Week 1, Florida State getting it rolling.
Emmett Smith has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin. Derek Brooks, who ran cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Both been beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin, 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba.
Bama scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trick Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive. Second hour of the program goes now right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each every day on Blab TV. Chad Brillante now joining us. You've heard his voice as our UFC insider, does a great job breaking down the fights. And really, there's going to be, whether you're a UFC fan or not, it's the fastest growing sport. But a guy that, has covered something that has been close to our hearts when it comes to this season, because there's about 5 or 6 sports that are always going to be something we love. USC, not that chimp playing ping pong in Belarus, that was just me. But all of the different things going on, from NASCAR, you had MLS soccer gave us the tournament back. Now so many sports are back, and the UFC fans, and it will still grow strong. But there was that time where that was the only thing going on, and sports fans were looking for it. And joining us now, Greg LaFountain of Blab Sports. Greg, it's nice to meet in person. We've worked together here for the last about 3 or 4 months in isolation, but good to actually get to meet you here in person.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you.
You're on the on a show on your network now that you work with right here as one of the additions here on the sports team, and just how's life been going for your family? Because I know it's been a difficult situation for everybody, but has there been anything cool that you guys, whether it's quarantine Olympics or getting to do something fun as a family, has there been something, because you got a little one like I do? What is one? I'm writing this down because I'm looking for notes. I've done everything in my house. What's one of the things that you guys have used this time to have some fun family time?
Yeah, well, we just moved into our home.
Well, that helps.
In November, so still trying to fix everything up and just trying to get settled into the new home that's gonna be our home for the next whoever knows how long. And like you said, having a little one, having a 2-year-old, and just trying to keep them busy, and you really appreciate everything that they do at daycare and everything like that, and just trying to get every single day he's learning something new, so just trying to teach him something new every day. And yeah.
When it comes down to UFC fighting, what has been the biggest story? Is it Cormier's retirement during this time, or looking at the way that some of these guys that weren't household names have really gained a lot of interest? There's a couple of those young fighters that have come up and really took in the world by storm. You have the situation where Khabib and the conversation of one more fight, and then what we saw with the fight where he broke his foot, and in a big right now with better than I do, but the guy who was not supposed to fight, they weren't sure, and then broke his foot during the fight with.
Are you talking about with Khabib?
Yes.
Oh, Khabib. Well, Khabib and
not Khabib, but the fight. It's not Khabib. That's why.
Oh, okay.
I usually never do this on the show.
Oh, are you talking about Sean O'Malley?
No,
who got hurt in the fight?
The injured fight. He was the main event at the very end. Okay, I'll think of it.
Okay.
It was not this weekend.
Okay.
I'm throwing you. You're an expert. And you're like, okay, this is
the
not
injuries
where we're
happen
going.
a lot. No, you're fine.
It was a couple weeks ago where they weren't sure if he was going to fight because of his testing. It was about 3 weeks ago, and then he broke his foot during the fight.
Jorge Masvidal.
Masvidal.
Okay.
Yes, a guy that fought around here at one point. Yes,
yeah.
That's why.
You're fine.
It was that
There's
easy.
a lot.
Listen,
I mean, that just goes to show you how many UFC events they are putting on right now.
I still feel stupid. That
no,
almost
you're
never
fine.
happens where I'm just like, what is, this is, I'm not allowed to have any more caffeine for a little while. You can't probably tell by my hair and the actions, but what used to be where my memory, I forget things all the time now. And
it happens.
I'm getting old, man.
No,
I'm not supposed to get this old at 35. I'm aging like dog years. But yeah.
No, I mean, I think that just goes to show what you asked me, the different storylines and everything that's going on in, the UFC.
Wait, son, who are you? No, I'm just it's not that bad.
So
how did you get in here?
The biggest, I think, storylines are, like you said, these unknown, relatively not household name fighters becoming household name fighters now because of the pandemic, that they are able to fight. And Dana White wants to put on as many. He said he wanted to be the first organization before NASCAR, before football, before hockey, all these sports. He wanted to be first. That was something he made very clear early on. He tried doing a fight in California, and politics got involved.
Yeah.
And they said it wasn't allowed. So he said, you know what, I'm just going to build my own island overseas in Abu Dhabi. And so I think that when you have these, with so many cards going on, the two storylines are kind of opposites in a way. You've got the guys that are fighting a lot, and then you've got guys that aren't fighting. And I think when you have guys like Conor McGregor, John Jones, these big name fighters not fighting, it gives those the UFC is just always going to, and Dana gets asked all the time, what are you going to do when so-and-so retires?
Yeah.
We'll do what we keep on doing. There's going to be new superstars brought in, and it's not going to be an issue. They come in waves. It's like any other sport. You have, big quarterbacks or any football players retire, new quarterbacks take over. That's just how it works, and it's like that in the fight game as well.
Looking right now at there's so many different sports going on. You got the NBA, the playoffs going on right now. The Bucks playing without Giannis out to a 10-point lead here, 21-11 early. But then you got the games tonight with LeBron in Houston. Then you got Major League Baseball, who really very similar to even in the regular season, even though it's not 162. People are really going to start to key in on baseball once the playoffs get there. That's what a lot of people that...
Unless you're a Red Sox fan. Then you might just watch sports too. No. Hey, I'm a Red Sox fan as well. I mean, I get it.
Just watch them lose. You saw them too? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect them to win it this way. It's just this is 2020, and for a Red Sox fan, we're like, you know what? This season never happened. We're going to rebuild. We're going to trade away some players, and we're going to be better in the years to come.
I feel like 2020 is trying to poke the bear on things. Like I just got a thing on my Twitter. I barely use Twitter, and it popped up on this feed. I'm like, oh, maybe this is a cool new recipe I can make or something. No. I got a meatball calzone thing yesterday I was excited about. So I get this. Not to say that was the end of the recipe. Someone's like, dude, cheese, meat, bread. Are you just kidding me? There was other stuff involved, so shut up, everybody. But when it came down to this one, it was a guy got eaten by a shark in Australia. And I was like, I thought that first off happened a lot in Australia. And second part to this, well, I don't want to know about this right now. But they're just feeding everything. Uh-oh, murder hornets appeared again.
Yeah.
Or uh-oh, in Colorado over the weekend, it was 97 degrees. And then tonight's lows over a 24, 48-hour period, 10 inches of snow, 26 degrees.
My brother lives there. When I was waiting outside the studio, just sent me a video 5 minutes
ago. That's ridiculous.
Of it snowing. I'm like, I'm good, man. Like, don't even show me that stuff.
we would think we're in one of those movies. I said, like Geostorm, that movie. If it went from 97 to 25 around here, you'd just be like, are you kidding me?
The city was shut down.
We were like, I feel we're blessed today. It was 86. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, we got 86, and we're like, humidity rate's only not 102. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good Lord for that. Like, not 28. People would be running like crazy for that.
I mean, I'm from upstate New York, and we had school canceled one year in my senior year because the wind chill got to negative 80, and I'm not exaggerating. So if it gets to 30 degrees here, I'm not happy, but I'm not complaining. Like when the few times it happens I can deal with that.
College football, we've talked enough. Everybody has their opinions or takes on things. I think most decent human beings think one way, and I just like answering for everybody, but everybody wants to be on the side of humanity. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, but they also, in the sports world, we get into it because if we feel they're comfortable and the coaches and the players and those organizations say they're good to go, then we should believe they're good to go. Your own personal choices with your kids, high school's coming up here, we'll be calling the games, that kind of stuff, that's different. But from a standpoint of, as a fan, I'm going to support it. People that are saying, I'm not supporting because I think it's dangerous, they're the ones making that decision. It'd be like going in front of go out to the Redwoods in California and go sit there with a guy and be like, hello? No, I'm not talking to you, Willow. Hello? And you just talk up there and be like, guys, like, 15% of you die per year. Get off the trees. And they're like, get out of here, man. Like, get out. Who is this guy? Like, same thing, wicked tuna shows. The people out there tuna fishing. Dangerous jobs. But if they're going to take that on, that's okay. COVID-19 and what's happening right now for the athletes, what did you think when you saw the stories, though, the Big Ten and the Pac-12?
Yeah, I fall along the same lines as you do.
And you have family in New York and stuff, so understanding,
absolutely. Yeah. I've got friends that are around my age that have had it. They were fortunate enough to just be sick for a few days, and they're fine. As a sports fan, yeah, you know what? I want to see college football, and I think that when you look at, it's not like college football is the safest sport in the world anyway. These guys, so many guys are dealing with head injuries, and how many times do you see throughout the year? There is, unfortunately, you see once or twice throughout the year, somebody dies of heat exhaustion just from practicing. So these are risks that the athletes know that they're taking, and the reason why they're taking it is because they love the game, and you know what? Most of them think they're going to go to the NFL. That's the bottom line. If you ask if you walk into any D1 school and say who here's going to play in the NFL, I bet they all raise their hand.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is 1 or 2 if they're lucky. And I just think that that's the risk that they're willing to take. They will put their bodies through it. I mean, if you played sports, the same thing. I mean, it's just there's so many things that you're willing to make sacrifice, and that the juice is worth the squeeze for so many of them. That I want to see, especially in these. Could you imagine playing at Michigan and you're just sitting there and you're watching Navy and BYU this past week? You've got to be kidding me!
Yeah.
I should.
Well,
be out
not
there.
only that, think about living in Ann Arbor and going to watch your younger brother play high school football, and you're not allowed to play.
And these guys had no idea. They thought there was going to be a season this year when there was a draft. They could have, the ones that really have a chance to be first, second, third round picks could have come out this year and still at least been in the NFL.
And they got no answers either. And that was the biggest thing is, look, the decisions being made, it could turn out where the Pac-12 and the Big Ten long-term could be right. We've seen sports being played. We're watching games right now where a lot of times when you're watching sports, you forget. You see a bunch of athletes out there doing their things. Once in a while, you'll see an assistant coach with a mask on. And frankly, for the people like Mike D'Antoni, that's the kind of guy you would say, hey, wear a mask. Not to say, the athletes in their 20s who are in prime shape, a lot of the people at a younger age that have got it, it's because they don't work out. They have asthma. They have, these are things that are clear. At this point, don't try to convince, if you're going to be out there saying, everybody in the age, my daughter is going back to school, and I'm happy as can be every day because she's getting a chance and gives mama a few minutes not to be every day by her side when I was still essential coming to work. That kind of stuff, I love my daughter more than anything, and she was in the NICU for 4 months and had a weakened immune system. I'd be the first one to say, she's our only girl. I'd be the first one to be like, hey, I don't want her, but I feel she's safe because kids are not getting it, and very few are. But overall, you have 500 kids in a room. One of them might have underlying conditions, maybe, but the rest of them are fine. That's the thing that we need to understand here with football, too. I was more worried about the coaches going into it and the other stuff, but right now, it looks like, once again, people can make their own choices. And those coaches, you're getting these stubborn 60-year-old coaches that played football and look like Kevin Green. I'm not telling that dude what to do.
Yeah.
That's
I couldn't agree more.
Is.
I think you're absolutely right that it's not whether it's sports or whether it's the economy and going to work. I think that you should be able to make your own decisions. If you are an 18-year-old playing college football, you don't need your parents' decision anymore. I joined the Marine Corps at 17 years old. I didn't need my parents' decision.
Thank you for your services.
Oh, thanks for your support. But it was just like stuff like that. I didn't need my parents, hey, mom, dad, hey, I'm going to Japan, or hey, I'm going to Iraq. No, you're an adult at that point, and same thing when you're going to college. I think that they should have.
And I bet your parents respected that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just, it was one of those things that, I was out on my own at that point. But, hey, if I blew through my money on the 2nd of the month and I got paid on the 1st, I had to find a way to get by until the 15th.
That's like,
that happened more than once.
Florida Bright Futures, that's what everybody goes, where college when your kids are like in high school? What college do you think they're going to? Well, the one that says Florida pays for their bright futures if they are. The other ones, good luck. You better get a second job. But my dad, I remember him saying that too, because Florida Bright Futures, even after baseball, I had a chance to stay around with and get 100% with books and tuition. And not bragging, just saying. Yeah. But when it was, because I'm stupid in a lot of other things. There's common sense things like trying to use my phone, and I don't know how to download a widget or an app, but I can get grades like that. So the difference is, so I'm in class though, and I try to milk a few of the tap dancing classes, those extra, you have to take those ones. So I'm sitting there, and my dad, I never forget this call. He calls, he goes, look, that's great that Bright Futures is paying. But all that other stuff where you go out to Devaney's or you're going out for the night and hanging out and girlfriend taking her dinner, None of that is on my bill anymore. So if you want to go ahead and get a job and move on, and I'm like, okay, all right. So he's like, that's great that Florida Bright Future is paying for college, but you, sir, are done after this semester. So end up milking another half, got through the 5-year plan, and moved to Vegas to do minor league broadcasting. But the choices we all make in life. My mama cried like I was playing craps with James Bond. That would have been really cool, drinking a gin and tonic every day. I lived next to like an Olive Garden with a courtyard out in Vegas and sat there, as it's one of these that wasn't that big of a deal overall. You can still have a city life wherever you live. I always believe whatever city you're from is how your situation is in life and what you make of it. I mean, there's people every day I see with their selfies. We know this in Pensacola. Most beautiful beach in the world, and everybody else is like, you son of a. We're here in class, whether in class or you're working all day in an office, and so there's some people that live paradise jobs every day. There's other people that work way out north, near Century and other places, and maybe work at a mill or work at places, and they don't see that every day. But they both live here, and somebody asks them, "Oh, you live there? You sit on the beach with the pelicans?" And I'm like, "That's not what you do." People are so ignorant to everything. Oh man. You hanging out with the Hulkster? I know he lives there. Yeah, that's in St. Pete. It's 6.5 hours away. But everybody wants to just believe. That's the same thing in Vegas. You say you're moving to Vegas, they think that you're ordering a drink and you're playing craps and you're about to go to the roulette wheel with a bunch of ladies on your side. That's not how it works in a regular city.
Yeah.
The same thing in New York.
Yeah. I grew up, 45 minutes away from Lake Placid.
Oh, yeah.
I never skied before in my life.
Yeah.
I've never skied before. I snowboarded once, and that was when I was stationed in Pendleton. I went to Big Bear. So it took me going to the Marines because in wintertime, it was wrestling season for me. So if you thought that I was going to cut weight and I was going to kill myself and not be eating or drinking food or water for days and then go skiing on the weekend when I just got done, no, that wasn't going to happen. So I never got to ski or snowboard. And being 45 minutes away from White Face Mountain, being, right up the skiing, I did ice skate on the rink where, over where the Miracle on Ice happened. So there's some stuff there. But yeah, you're absolutely right. People just assume that because you're from that environment, you're doing that type of stuff all the time.
Now you got some ties with the Bucks in that area and stuff like that. Look, Tom Brady, the conversations come up all the time, and I respect them, but people are like, man, you're going to go watch Brady all the time? I'm like, first off, I'm a Patriot fan that was blessed to watch Tom Brady as a 6th-rounder, voila, develop into this guy, beating all of your teams, except for you Giants. I see Fred Robbins every single time he has that ring. But it comes down to that I'm rooting for the best, but I'm not now a Bucks fan because of them. Some people are. They're like, yes, Brady's now with the Bucks, which is fine. A lot of people follow players. Like a lot of people became Bronco fans in this area when Tim Tebow went there. My dad was one of them. He was like, shh. Broncos are on. It's like, yeah, you didn't care at all. Elway played. Elway was here for 15 years. You didn't even care to watch this. We were going to church. He's
Never did a Mile High.
We got to go to 9 a.m. We went to 9 a.m. Mass now instead of 6 p.m. because they played the West Coast games. And I'm like, we're changing our schedule of church to talk. He's Tim Tebow, but you get church while you're watching him. But the difference is you see a lot of times where people root for those guys. The Bucks, though, Leonard Fournette, he gets picked up. But this is a guy that he's now saying he's never played with the quarterback that's been this good. Really a good quarterback, which, frankly, he's only played for the Jags, so that's a fair and valid assessment. Gardner Minshew's like, man, you're not invited to my party next week. Right. But Fournette goes out there. I think it's great, though. He's getting interviewed. He's like headline number 2 on ESPN. Currently, right now, Bruce Arians has him listed, though, as the 3rd-string running back, besides Ronald Jones and LaShawn McCoy. That's not exactly. I think by the end of probably not week 1, but like week 2 or 3, he will be the starter. Tom Brady has proved 1 point. He doesn't need a great running back in order to win Super Bowls.
Absolutely.
James White's probably been the best guy, and Kevin Falk, and they're not even actual everyday running backs. They're just the little dink and dunk. So. And Keyshawn Vaughn, remember, was drafted at the beginning this year, early for Vanderbilt. McCoy will be that. Not McCoy, but Leonard Fournette will be that guy. But I just think it's funny right now for a guy 3rd on the depth chart, just saying what it is. Do you think he's going to make a big impact? Because he is playing with an offense now that he has freak talent. He's had freak talent from day one in LSU. This guy, you can watch a guy stand out on a field and say, dude, this guy's awesome. Derrick Henry has been like that. There's guys you just go, this guy flat out is amazing at what he does. Fournette was one of those guys, and even though he hasn't had a horrible career, he's been stuck in Jacksonville where unless you're doing wow things, you're going to just be that guy. That's why DJ Chark, who had an incredible rookie year, people were like, who?
Yeah.
Baby Chark? Yeah. Make a joke. Like, no, he's really good. Same thing with Fournette. Do you think he's going to make a huge impact on that team? Gronk or Fournette, who makes a bigger impact?
Fournette.
Okay.
I think because Gronk, you got to look at who their other tight ends are too. I think Brady's just going to have it. I heard you talking fantasy earlier. I was not touching a Bucs tight end with a 3.5-foot pole because every single week he's going to have a favorite tight end to throw to.
It's true.
And so, but to go back to your question, I was down in Tampa when this happened. I remember being on Tampa radio down there and then, hey, the rumor is that Brady's coming here, and this was maybe a week before, and I'm like, there's no way this happens. And the reason why I was thinking that was after watching so much Bucs football, their offensive line is terrible. Jameis Winston, by all means, made bad decisions, but many times he made those bad decisions was because he was under pressure less than 3 seconds. He didn't have time to go through his reads, and when you have those two stud wide receivers on the end, you need time to get them downfield. So many times he was just throwing it up there. So I didn't think there was a chance that over 40-year-old Tom Brady was going to want to get hit 20 times a game. I didn't think that. He went down there anyway,
Giselle's got him doing Peloton and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's going to be so sore after every day. So I think that it really does come down to, yes, when you look at all those fantasy, sexy positions and everything, the Bucs look really good on paper. I know they drafted an offensive lineman in the first round this year. That offensive line is really bad, and I think that it will all look good, but if he doesn't have time to throw the ball, which Brady is that good that he can make those quick slants, but that's not what Mike Evans does. Mike Evans likes to go down the field. Goodwin, same thing, likes to go down the field. I think that same thing with Fournette. If he's not getting those holes or anything because offensive line isn't creating it for him, you're only as good as your offensive line. Sure, you've got Barry Sanders, and you can find some examples of no offensive line and running backs still doing work, but I think that when you're on a brand new team, you've had some injuries in the past. You do need an offensive line to help create those situations.
Offensive lines make everybody a lot better.
Yeah,
that's pretty much the key. It's the one overlooked when you got that big guy the second you're out. Ask Joe Theismann or Alex Smith both times. The craziest stat ever. Have you ever seen that?
Exact yard line.
Exact score, exact yard line, exact team, exact week of the season.
If you did that in a movie, they'd call BS.
It honestly got creepy. Like, there's some things where you get the guys on there. Everybody has a stat. Elias Bureau does a great job with ESPN on cool stats. But there's some right before game time. I'll never forget Bob Holtzman got on there, and they're like, what do you think in Green Bay? Well, guys, when Green Bay plays against the Detroit Lions, they are 7-4 when it gets below 40 before kickoff. And you're like, well, shouldn't they be around 7-4 against the Lions? And first off, what am I supposed to take from that? Like, does that mean they're good? You pointed like I should be excited. I'm like, they should be 9-1 against the Lions. So I'm confused now. I don't know what to make of that. That stat is creepy when it was literally the same score, had exactly the same time in the game, the same team they were playing, same week of the season. It was the same exact situation where their starting left tackle had gone out in the next series. That's when the injury occurred.
Yeah.
Trent Williams went out, and then so at the time Joe Jacoby. Both Pro Bowl tackles went out, and the next series is when they came around the end, and he was injured for the year.
Do you think Alex Smith gets any snaps this year?
If he does, it's a miracle. I'm rooting for him. I'm an Alex Smith fan from a standpoint. I don't think he's not elite. I'm not one of those guys that boast for Kirk Cousins is the best thing. No, he's not. He missed a lot of guys wide open. But he's a solid quarterback. With quarterbacks today, the inconsistency of a lot of quarterbacks, Alex Smith was always reliable. If you think about where he went with San Francisco, where he was with Kansas City.
2005.
Yeah. And he already had a lot of hype because people were like, this Utah guy's got to prove it.
Yeah.
Well, he started off a little slow, but then he got into the Andy Reid system in Kansas City, and he was consistently an 11-5 type guy. Washington actually hadn't won in a while, and he was winning some games with them. They were off to a good start. Then the injury. But he's clearly their best healthy selection. Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen is just wasting our time. But overall, the situation with him walking, when they were getting all excited and splashing around when he finally could walk, he looked very similar to one of those America's Funniest Home Video when Grandpa gets on the skateboard down the hill.
Yeah.
And you're like, you laugh, but you're in the back of your mind I hope Gramps is still there. Breaking a hip could be damaging to him today. We don't want to send him to the hospital. What's going on? That situation right there with a guy like Alex Smith, he was having a hard time getting around him. He was gimping around. How are you going to? You got Von Miller coming at you? how are you supposed to get around that? I mean, that's
I couldn't agree more.
So I don't think he's going to be able to
saw
play.
that video, it looked like he was limping, and I was like, all right, so he's not going to be able to do a three-step drop right now. There's no way. And I mean, Tom Brady, I remember he talked about it when he, got injured and you baby that leg. You can't help it. You've been babying it for a year. Alex Smith has been babying it for 2 years. And, I mean, I've got 5 screws in a plate in my left ankle.
Okay.
When it first came out, like, you literally, like, when it got back to PT and everything in the Marines, it was, why am I running with a limp still? It doesn't hurt anymore. It's just muscle memory from how you've been walking for that amount of time. And I think the same thing, Tom Brady thought, he's been on record saying it, that when he got hit, right away he said, there it is again. Oh, no, I'm fine. It's just like right away you think that you just think worst case scenario, and the amount of pain that he must have gone through in that hit, every single time he's got to be thinking, man, is it worth it for me to go through this again? Maybe I should just put a headset on and be a good coach, or to help these young guys set everything up and pass on the knowledge that I've learned over.
I think many people in this area believe I've had surgery. I get a lot of screw yous, so I'm thinking maybe they think I've had plate. I have not.
No.
Some guy, Dan Davis, did that.
Oh yeah.
It didn't end well. He almost led to surgery. But when it comes down to looking at a guy like Alex Smith, we wish him the best. People are not rooting against that story.
As a Cowboy fan, I'm rooting for a Redskin.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're used to, like, Vernon Davis was like 35 and he was doing videos of him looking like the world's strongest man. Like, he's out there like, like that's the guy.
James
like,
Harrison.
Okay, I know that guy's old and he runs his 40s, not the best, but he still looks like a beast. These guys, they look vicious. You look at a situation. I'm just, everybody saw what they saw. Maybe he regrets the family. It was slippery out there. I'm not telling you people would be juking and jiving out there, but that didn't. Your family didn't help the cause. They were trying to celebrate, and what they did is they made something clear that looked a little like Oklahoma. We'll get to that story about Lincoln Riley. He doesn't owe anybody the information. That's not news. That has to be made clear. When we come back, we'll talk more college football. We'll get to more of what's going on in the NBA playoffs. Greg LaFountain joining us, Blab Sports. Glad to have him in studio. We're coming back for more on this Tuesday afternoon.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom. Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
So sports are back here at ESPN Pensacola, and everybody is excited.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40! Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs.
Marcus was absolutely awful. That's about as PG rated as I can say it. He was awful.
Not a game. We talking about practice.
I wish one of your guys had children if I could kick them in the head so you could feel my pain, because that's the pain I have.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
All right, well, most of us are real excited. Chapper Leonte here with the Sports Drive, checking in on the AP Top 25 preseason poll in college football. The Clemson Tigers opened the season at number 1, followed by Ohio State at 2 and Alabama at 3. 7 teams out of the SEC made the top 25, and 4 in the top 10, with Alabama 3, Georgia 4, LSU 6, and Florida number 8. 9 teams out of the Big Ten and Pac-12 made it, but only for the preseason, without playing in 2020. And FSU still a little work to go, with 6 top 25 votes.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day here on Blab TV. Chapper Leonte joining us in studio. Greg LaFountain, you can check him out there, Blab Sports, and he's our UFC expert. But also, as you can see in our last subject, it was our first actually in studio on air. Starts to flow. You get a couple guys from up north. Someone's like, "Can you shut them up for 2?" Yeah, but we could talk for hours, and I can tell you're a sports fan. I mean, you can tell when you're having those conversations that you start to feel it. Now, for football, let's get to it because football bread and butter around here. Clemson, Trevor Lawrence, should he be looked at in the same light for what we saw after he played in college as what Joe Burrow did last year and the way we're looking at him in the NFL? Should a team be salivating for Trevor Lawrence like they are for Joe Burrow? That is now for Cincinnati, and they're just salivating for a player that knows how to play.
That's a good question. I mean, I absolutely think that he's going to be just fine going to the next level. I think that this season really worries a lot of people with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
You've got, and what teams, when you look at the NFL, what teams don't have a young quarterback that they've already invested in? There are very few. And the big one that keeps coming back to, and it's going to upset a lot of people, are the Patriots. What happens if Cam Newton doesn't pan out? They win 3-4 games this year, and they get the chance to get Trevor Lawrence. That would upset so many Dolphins. I mean, the NFL especially, but you're looking at the Dolphins, the Jets, the Bills. That division is going to be so upset. So
well, and there's going to be a time where there's going to be a change. And if these guys live up to the hype, because a lot of times people do get excited for young individuals that have star power. But I've watched enough football where I'm not going to throw out, Tua and Joe Burrow and these guys are some of the greatest we ever seen. They truly were some of the greatest we ever saw by their stats, what they did. There's no quarterback even close. And you had Bart Starrs and guys and Joe Namath, but they barely passed back in the day. Kenny the Snake Stabler. You have a lot of guys on an Alabama list. Tua's stats morph everybody. It's not even close when you look at him next to any other quarterback at Alabama. A.J. McCarron, Greg McElroy, they were game managers. You'll see them on a list.
Great running backs.
Yeah, exactly. They were guys that could throw for 175 yards and win games. Now, even Mac Jones this year is going to have to throw for 320. It's a different game. I just look at a guy like Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and also what we saw in Joe last year, what we got out of him. It's going to be a year where those 3 guys, that could be a new regime 10 years down the road where they're the next group. They're that group. And
like
football
doesn't,
draft. And it doesn't always pan out in the NFL like that. But people are like, when they start going like, well, look at Mitch Trubisky. Like, stop that. Stop saying that, because there was never a moment where we said, well, look at Mitch Trubisky at North Carolina like he was going to be that. Deshaun Watson, yes. And Deshaun Watson still, based on what he just got paid, is going to be taking people out to eat for a little while. Deshaun Watson's still a very solid quarterback, and a lot of people, when they talk about Deshaun, they say he's the kind of quarterback that, with a couple supporting cast members offensively, a running game that's legit. Yeah. They would actually, not a great fantasy running back from 2015,
right.
But a guy from today in David Johnson. They get rid of their best receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. He was the only receiver, really. This is the kind of time right now where he's been solid enough that you can say he's that kind of quarterback that's going to be fun to watch. But you look right now at the NFL. Any bold predictions for this year? Because we know Patrick Mahomes is going to be solid, and they get to kick off 2 days from now. Come back on that short week after Labor Day. We got two days. We got NFL football. Mahomes versus Deshaun Watson right out of the gate. Mahomes is the real deal.
Oh, for sure.
Lamar Jackson, I believe, he's obviously the real deal athlete, but the style of play
Couldn't agree more.
is something that it is fair.
And it's scary.
It is fair to question. It is fair long-term to question because every guy we've ever seen be like that, RG3,
and don't have
Michael
long
Vick,
careers.
none of them end up having a career that was worth going that far. And all of them had a year like what Lamar Jackson did last year. Lamar's different. I think he's a little bit better than all that when it comes to – but Michael Vick was like that. And he obviously got in some trouble, but even before he got in trouble, he wasn't that. I mean, he wasn't living up to every year being that good. I'm very intrigued to see if they can do it again because guess what? At the end of the day, he has 0 playoff wins. 0. And that's something that you got to look at and go, okay, before we just deem a guy because he is the MVP, before we deem him on that elite of the elites, let's give him a little more time to prove it because longevity in every sport is much more important. You don't make the Hall of Fame for being really good. Cody Bellinger is not a Hall of Famer right now. If he continues to be good, but he started the season batting 170 for the Dodgers. Let's see how long he can go. I like what we see in Lamar. But it's okay to have those feelings, right? I mean, that's.
I couldn't agree more. I think that when you
we didn't
look
plan
at
this,
that,
bro.
No,
this is awesome, man. We're like enjoying it.
I wish you'd give me
Come
something
back
that I
in
could
here. You keep
disagree with.
agreeing
Yeah,
what I was
right.
gonna say.
No, give me something. But no, I think that when you look at it, like you said, the quarterbacks in the past, they had 2, maybe 3 good seasons, and then it just like. People figured him out. I mean, you even look at Kaepernick. Kaepernick went into Lambeau Field, and he beat
he's back,
the Packers.
by the way. Did you see that today?
The Madden, yes.
That's so funny.
Right.
Yeah, somebody.
I did.
I can't believe that's an actual ESPN headline, but continue, please.
No, I can't believe his stat.
He made it
that they
back,
gave
folks.
him.
I'm Madden.
You saw his stat.
What was that?
Did you see what he's rated in Madden?
Tell me they didn't give him a 99.
Oh, no, not a 99, but an 81, which is the 15th best of quarterbacks. Not bad for a guy who went 1-10 his last year 4 years ago.
Did he help? Was he sitting in on the ratings when they were doing this?
I think that they're just like, hey, we're sorry that we took you out of the game, that we took you out of the song. Here's an 81. We'll put you in the middle of the pack. Middle of the pack is so he's better than 17 starting quarterbacks according to Matt. But anyway,
but yeah, the good news is most people say I'm done watching NFL football are not going home to their kids and playing Madden. That's a good thing. I've got that a lot, and I respect anyone's choices, but those people usually don't flow. Exactly.
So, but yeah, you look at Kaepernick. He did have really good seasons. Took the 49ers to the Super Bowl, but defensive coordinators figured him out, and I think that's what happens in so many instances. Let's make him pass. When you make those type of quarterbacks pass, you get beat lots of times. If they're just that, if you have a linebacker kind of just shadow them around and just quarterback contain, they're going to get caught out, and eventually they're going to fade. So that's why I think as far as bold predictions this year, I'm really interested. I've been somebody that kind of has always said that Aaron Rodgers is a little overrated. I don't understand why he gets as much love as he does for winning one Super Bowl, for one Super Bowl appearance. That was something that Peyton Manning got. People tore him apart for so many years for not having any Super Bowls. Then he had one. Then he needed a second one to really, pass his brother Eli and definitely just show that he's part of the elite and the greatest of all time. But Aaron Rodgers gets that pass for whatever reason. I'm really interested to see if Aaron Rodgers comes out this year angry and ready to prove. You're going to draft. You think that this is like the Brett Favre situation? You're going to have Love sit behind me for 2 or 3 years and I'm gone? No. I expect him to come out, and I really think he's going to do some great things in Green Bay this year.
I think it's a very fair assessment because when you use the word overrated, the whole point is where are you rated?
Absolutely.
And Aaron Rodgers, and I agree with you completely on that. Look at this, going back and forth. Because Aaron Rodgers is rated in that same group as if all their careers retired, he'd be up there waving at people with Joe Montana, according to the media.
Yes.
With Joe Montana, Tom Brady, with Peyton Manning's, and those other guys have accomplished so much more.
It's not even close.
If you look at Aaron Rodgers' record over the last, I think, 10 years, it's average seasons of like 10-6. There's a couple years where they didn't even make the playoffs.
And one Super Bowl appearance.
And he's getting hurt a lot, one ring, and but then there's the other side. the intangibles Aaron has are ones that some quarterbacks we've never seen.
As
the
a
way
Cowboy fan, trust me, I've seen him make the rolling out against Jones. I mean,
and he
God.
throws a laser. That
Yes.
one that he found Jared Cook on the sidelines. Oh, he's the only quarterback I've ever seen that can make that play. So there are things that he does that are better than anybody else. So we made that clear for the Rodgers people coming out with pitchforks outside the studio. The difference, too, is he's another guy that attitude also is a reflect on the way that the GMs and other people have treated him. I've never had a personal feeling because what we see is him dating Danica or him, Olivia Munn, and all in the media. But Jordan Rodgers, his brother, when they talked about it, who was in The Bachelor and Vanderbilt, very smart guy. He was on the SEC network, still is. But he said that, look, our family really doesn't even talk to Aaron. A lot of people don't like him. You saw Matt LaFleur. There had to be something within that locker room. Where you drafted Jordan Love, not just for the joke that you have your A-Rod and J-Lo now. Now, outside of that joke, you don't get a guy like that if a guy still has 5 or 6 years left in the tank and he's your prime guy. You have that conversation with him at least. You have that, like Jimmy Garoppolo is out because Brady and some of the guys had a conversation and said, hey, look, I don't need the pressure on my back, and Bill saying this guy is going to come in. That's what happens. And usually, even though Jimmy Garoppolo had talent, and Patriot fans might sit here and go, what could we add for a couple more years? You sit there and go, okay, star players still have star power. And Aaron Rodgers obviously doesn't get that treatment when you draft Jordan Love this year out of the woodworks when a lot of people didn't see him going in the first round. That's something where it's more to that story behind the scenes, but they have not given him – he does not have the love when you – Valdez-Scantling and guys out there like Alan Lazard or your big guys outside of Devontae Adams, they have not given him the kind of supporting cast that he needs. And that's another part of it too. So I'm looking at both sides of it and saying, I get it, but there's more to that story with Aaron Rodgers.
Absolutely. I mean, and the big thing a couple years ago when McCarthy got fired was he and Rodgers were bumping heads. They didn't really get along, and then LaFleur was going to come in and take – and he and Rodgers had this great chemistry, and it's two years later, and he's already drafted his replacement. I mean, you talk about the supporting cast. I think that's absolutely fair. When you look at what was it that they never had like a running back or anything drafted or wide receiver help past the third round or anything, and then this year they kind of start drafting.
Well, they tried with Eddie Lacy, but he turned into an offensive lineman.
Yeah,
it's like.
So, but then you look at when you want to be compared to the greats, or not saying that he does, but when the media likes to compare him to the greats, did Tom Brady get a bunch of first-round receivers that I just
no? You're right. You're right.
I mean,
and way to make what. Touche. You just took a point that I wasn't going to bring up, but you just countered it with something that was true. Tom Brady makes the most of it, and that's why I feel like Aaron Rodgers, he's that kind of guy that, let's call it what it is, both married with kids happily. Don't know your life, but just by the pictures, sorry. I mean, this is not that. This is getting weird. So when we're sitting here, though, at the same time, it's okay to say we all know those girls. You might go, man, she's a 10. And then this is in our prior life. And then you go, okay, you get to know them, and the crazy comes out and some other things. And you're like, yeah, I could see if I make the wrong thing, my car is going to be keyed in the parking lot. So we need to end this real quick. That takes that person. Doesn't mean that if you saw them back out 3 years later, you wouldn't go, man, she's so hot. But you might also say, oh, I remember why I didn't talk after 3 seconds of talking. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Aaron Rodgers is that guy that you always go back and go, gosh, that guy can play. And then you realize on moments like the San Francisco 49ers when you're watching last year, when he completely gave up in that game. You could see last year they were outmatched, and they weren't helping him a lot on defense. But you could tell he was almost happy going to the sidelines, like, yep, 3 and out.
Yep.
And Tom Brady and those guys would have been out there yelling at every one of them, like, get back in this. Like, let's make this happen.
Yeah, 28-3. That's all you have to say.
So when things are going good, when things are going good and Rodgers is happy, he's that 10. When they're not, he's that person you don't want to touch. So I think it's fair. That's a fair point you made right there with some of the other guys. Because if you're going to be the best of all time, you have to win in any circumstance.
Absolutely.
And Drew Brees just needs to buy a break.
Jeez.
Can somebody give this guy a break, man? 3 years in a row, he's on the sidelines like, yep, just keep Diggs in bounds.
Yep.
Oh, that wasn't PI on the most obvious call in the world. Okay, what do we need to do next? Bulldozer's going to come down. He's going to be on like a touchdown. Michael Thomas by himself in the end zone, Bulldozer on the field or something like that. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Flav TV.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight it's up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Florida. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Florida Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
For your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. Greg Maddux faced 20,421 batters in his career, and of those 20,000, only 310 of them went to a 3-0 count. 177 of those were intentional walks. And in 1998, Miami of Ohio running back Travis Prentice set the NCAA FBS record for the most consecutive rushes without losing a fumble. He carried the ball 365 times for over 1,700 yards and 19 touchdowns. He also holds the career record at 862 carries without a fumble. That's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP.
Hi, it's Mike Greenberg, and you're listening to The Sports Drive with Chad Brillante on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah. Some call me the gangster of love. Some people call me Maurice, 'cause I speak of the pompatus of love. People talk about me, baby, say I'm doing you wrong, doing you wrong. Well, don't you worry, baby, don't worry, 'cause I'm right here, right here, right here, right here at home.
I don't know. That's changed with COVID right there. I don't know if... Yeah. Don't you worry, I'm right here with you now, girl. Maybe that's a song for 2020 be like, now I'm worried more.
Yeah,
it's supposed to 6 feet away. Yeah. Every song every classic anything song, country song, all that, baby, hold my hand, be like, don't do that.
Not today.
Hand sanitizer.
Yep.
2020 changes all that, by the way. So just it's a different world we live in right there. Black Eyed Peas songs, forget about all of them right there. 850-623-1330 is the number. Giannis, he's out today for the game. They're down by 5 right now to the Miami Heat. It can be distracting. You're looking over it. We used to have these TVs during the offseason on Walker, Texas Ranger. It got very, very distracting. I love a good Walker, Texas Ranger. Chips was on. So we're watching the game right now, and it's 49-44. Milwaukee, though, without Giannis, you're starting a team. He's obviously a freak. It's in his name as his nickname. He can do things that nobody else can do. I mean, it feels like from half court he takes like 3 steps like a spider, and he's already at the hoop. But do you look at him if you're starting a team as one of those go-to guys that you know you're going to win? Because their regular season record was really good, but they had to go to other people down the stretch. Like they had to find Chris Middleton and George Hill to make shots because he doesn't make wide-open jumpers. Is he going to be able to survive long-term, or is he always going to be one of these guys like a Russell Westbrook where it's like, hey, you put up elite stats, but we never look at you like we expect you to win in the big game?
Yeah, I think in the NBA nowadays,
you have to shoot.
And it's been like this for maybe a decade now. You're not going to win by yourself. You're just not. You just don't see it. LeBron couldn't do it until he got Kyrie Irving, and then even when they won, Kyrie's the one that hit the big shot. Yeah, LeBron had the block before that, but I mean, not taking anything away from LeBron winning that, but you just need to have a team, or you need to have, Batman needed Robin. You need to have at least 2 superstars.
That's fair, yeah.
So I mean, unless there's something in Milwaukee that I'm not sure about, he's gone. I mean, he's just going to go to one of these bigger markets where they can build someone around. Because
that's a completely fair statement today in the NBA, because you look at it too. And you also, if you have more guys that can shoot, you consistently feel better, meaning that even with LeBron and Anthony Davis, that's a perfect example there too. LeBron needed help, but so did Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was on the Pels, and they weren't making the postseason. And he's obviously a star. So Anthony Davis goes over there, but both of those guys aren't the kind of guys that if your team's down 12 and they start pulling up off jumpers like Kevin Durant, you're definitely going to win the game, because they shoot around the average in the NBA. It's just the freak talent that they have around that makes them that much better. That's why when you had that Golden State team, people would go, forget about it, because when they got hot and you had Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson shooting, with Draymond Green doing all the dirty work, coming in for the rebounds, you'd go, you've got to be kidding me. Because if those guys get hot, you're talking about 3 of the top 5 shooters in the NBA. That's why, I think if you got like a Giannis, you do everything to sign a guy like Devin Booker if he was available. And now you got that piece where now you're like, okay, I'm going to drive the hoop. If they don't double team me and step out and I kick it to Booker, he's going to hit that shot. Or if a guy like Luka got with him or something, but that's more difficult to do. They're talking 2 MVPs right there.
Yeah.
This is one that is going to be it's going to be very intriguing to see what Milwaukee did, because they had such a good regular season, but they're more than likely going to get eliminated by a good but not great Heat team right now.
And I mean, when you look at it too, it's not like this is going to go 7 games, or it doesn't appear that's going to go. It's not like, LeBron when he left after losing to the Celtics, where it was this dogfight. This series, with or without Giannis, does not appear to be very close.
No.
And like you said, a good, not great Heat team that is playing some really good basketball right now beat the Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP from the same season. I think that he sees that he's going to need help. And if he's not going to get it in Milwaukee, he'll go somewhere else that will give him that help.
Do you see, Greg, anybody outside the Clippers and Lakers having a shot to win it this year?
As a Celtics fan, I'd love to say yes. I'd love to say yes.
I don't have to talk now. You just said exactly what I feel.
No, I mean, as a even with Gordon Hayward coming back, that the one thing that the Celtics do have is depth. I mean, you go ahead and you bring the starters off. Their bench is better than anybody else's in the NBA. But LeBron James is still the best basketball player on the face of the planet, and when he turns it on, he can do anything that very few can do.
I would. That's the first part of today, and I might convince you after a few seconds here. That's the first thing I would disagree with you on. LeBron James, he has the capabilities to turn on the Jets to be the best at any time, but Kawhi Leonard's the best player right now in the NBA. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Meaning, I think Kawhi Leonard is the best. Like consistent every night, you're going to get a bunch of points.
Rest,
yeah, that's true. Now LeBron though, in like you're 3 minutes left in the game, and both of them are giving it their all. That's going to be a really good matchup. And LeBron is getting older, but I would agree to a point that LeBron can turn it to a mode where you can't do anything about 6'8", 270 when he's going at you and he's barreling through.
Yeah.
Kawhi just consistently gets into one of those zones, and he's the defending champ right now. So.
And has a great coaching.
But I understand what you're saying on that. He's still LeBron's still looked at as the guy. You don't want to face LeBron. And that makes sense. Looking at as well at what's going on right here real quickly. U.S. Open, being from New York and stuff, do you get into any of the U.S. Open in tennis?
Not really.
That's okay.
Nope.
It's a fair,
No,
half these names, I bet most people would not know what country half the people in the top 10 are from right now.
No, I think that's fair.
That's definitely fair.
Yeah.
I do this for a living, and I watched about 4 events, and I had to Google where they were from.
Yeah.
Even some of the flags that I had to double check.
Yeah.
So I think it's fair enough to say. Look at that. My phone's asking me about different countries now. They're trying to help me. One time in here, I'll never forget, Chris Garagiola was doing the games with the Wahoos, so you can catch on Blab as well, ESPN Pensacola, and we were sitting there, and one of the guys up to bat for the Jackson Generals was named Siri. So every time he would say, All right, Siri steps his phone in the background. You can hear, what would you like help with?
Yeah.
Can I help you with this answer? And so he just started giving nicknames to the guy. But nothing like having one of those names. Like if you have a name like Richard Alexa or one of those, like you're going to have a pretty tough day at the office.
I know Joe Rogan had that where he had people telling him, stop saying Siri on your podcast, because then in the middle of the podcast, the iPhone would pick up Siri and interrupt the podcast.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, final quarter here, we'll break down more on what's going on. Greg LaFountain, Blab Sports, joining us in studio. We'll talk some UFC, some of the fights coming up this week, and fun time right now. It's time to celebrate as we're getting ready for a big night in sports.
I'm Troy Rafferty, and many of you know about my love for sports and my longtime support for our local high school athletes. One thing these fine young people have taught me over the years is this: whether it's on the ball field, in the classroom, or in a court of law, always work your hardest and achieve the best results possible. And that is the commitment we make to our clients and our community.
Levin Papantonio in Pensacola since 1955.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
This is Tort Talk with personal injury lawyer Terrence A. Gross.
Hi, this is Terrence A. Gross. Did you know there are over 100,000 lawyers in the state of Florida? Less than 2,000 are board-certified civil trial lawyers. I'm proud to say that both myself and my law partner Charlie Schuster have been board-certified for over 25 years and specialize in handling personal injury claims.
Tort Talk is brought to you by Terrence A. Gross. Call 434-3333 or check him out at grossandschuster.com.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Ferocious flavor has landed at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's bold, it's different, it's refreshing, it's dragon fruit. We're using real dragon fruit to blend up our fearsomely flavorful new dragon fruit smoothie. Try one today, paired with a fan favorite Super Green Caesar chicken wrap or a Chipotle Chicken Club flatbread for a powerfully tasty combo. Slay your cravings at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eat better, feel better.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show. Sometimes this happens, we reel right into the final break here. But, hey, really enjoyed the time. They're playing us off the set. So, you know what? Greg enjoyed it today.
Yeah, I did too. If you guys are free, I'm going to be at New York Knicks, their new relationship here at Blab. Thursday night to watch the Houston Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs
Thursday
kick off
night.
the season. So
we'll see you at Nick's on Thursday night, Greg, and looking forward to that. And we'll talk some more. We'll have you back on the show this week to break down the UFC fights as
For
well.
sure, sounds good.
Thanks again, buddy.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Hey, Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
This is Sports Center.
Into ESPN Sports Center, breaking news. According to ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter, Broncos linebacker Von Miller suffered an ankle injury Tuesday toward the end of practice, and team officials fear it is a season-ending injury. Halftime, Game 5 of the NBA Eastern Conference semifinal series between Miami and Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis Antetokounmpo with that sprained ankle he suffered in Game 3, re-aggravated in Game 4. Right now, halftime, Miami up 52-46 at the break. The Heat trail by 9 at the end of the first quarter. Goran Dragic with 10 points to lead Miami. Miami, of course, trying to close out the series, leading 3-1. Coming up 9 p.m. Eastern, Game 3 in the West between the Lakers and Houston Rockets. The series tied at a game apiece. ESPN NBA insider Tim Legler breaking down the Lakers, and star Anthony Davis says AD's got